Hi folks, it's bright and sunny. It's 8:45 in the morning here in Bengaluru, and we've set out on a ride. Well, this is not going to be so much of a ride, but an episode on the Fat Boy. That's right. So many of you have been asking questions about the Fat Boy. So I thought today we will ride out for a bit, park the motorcycle somewhere and talk about the Fat Boy. So this episode is all that you want to know about my Harley Davidson Fat Boy. So stay tuned till the very end to know more about this beautiful beast. So we are on Electronic City Toll Road and we are headed to the Otera Hotel in Electronic City, because that's where I'm going to park my bike in peace and do this walk around the Fat Boy. It's been a while since I visited the Otera. In fact, the last time we were there was when we did a very big event. We did a sit-down dinner, I think a 7-course sit-down dinner at their Italian restaurant, Alloro. And that was a beautiful, beautiful experience. If you haven't caught that episode yet, I have it up on Gourmet on the Road on Food Lovers TV. I'm going to place a link right here and also in the description below. Do catch it. It was one of the most beautifully orchestrated Italian sit-down dinners. So the Electronic City is like a township in itself. It has its own administration, its own setup. So you got wide roads, beautiful avenues, because of course all the top companies are here. The Infosys, the Wipros of the world, the TCSs. Hi folks, we are here at the Otera Bengaluru and I'm here with my Harley Davidson Fat Boy, and we're going to talk about why this is my #1 motorcycle. So I've always thought about the Harley Davidson Fat Boy for the longest time ever since I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger ride it in The Terminator, a movie that came out in 1990. And this is a model that's been running since then. Of course, they've made iterations to the motorcycles along the way, but this is a motorcycle model that's been hugely successful for the last 30 years. And I think if you talk about American motorcycles, this motorcycle is the image that people conjure in their mind, thanks entirely to that movie, thanks entirely to Terminator, and the shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger ride this motorcycle. So like many other people, this was always a motorcycle that I fantasized about, and so it was a dream come true when I was finally able to get this motorcycle about 4 years ago. Of course, this is a company that has a heritage that goes back over 100 years. So Harley Davidson as a company was established in 1903. So there's a lot of heritage, a lot of history that goes into the making of these motorcycles. So at the heart of the Fat Boy is its engine. So this is a 103 cubic inch engine. It has a displacement of about 1690 cc. That's right, that's about 1700 cc. So that's roughly the combined engine output of probably about 5 Royal Enfield Bullets put together. That's the kind of power that you have in this twin cam engine. The other interesting thing about this engine is that its peak torque is about 135 Newton meters, and it generates that at a very low RPM. I think roughly in the 3500 odd engine rev range. So what that basically means is that you're achieving your peak torque at a very low engine running speed, which means that when you're on the highway, when you're cruising on this motorcycle for hours on end, you don't really feel that engine tiredness. You know, sometimes when you're riding a low displacement engine, to get to those speeds, you really have to work the engine. But in this case, you reach that peak output at very low RPMs. So you can be riding this machine for 6, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours, and you will absolutely not feel that engine buzz. And because the engine is also revving at relatively low speeds, this is also an engine that's extremely durable. I know of people who've ridden their Harleys for about 200,000 kilometers without absolutely any problem. So that's the heart of the Fat Boy here. So this is paired with a 6-speed transmission. That's what we have here. So we have a 6-speed transmission that this connects to. It also has ride-by-wire acceleration. So there's no cable. It's basically ride-by-wire, completely electronic. I do have the option of attaching a cruise control module to this motorcycle, which I don't have at this point in time, because I don't really see the point of cruise control on Indian roads, perhaps on the highways sometimes, but there's always so much unpredictability on the highways that I don't really know if I require that option of cruise control, at least at this point in time. On the flip side of this engine, well, this is an air-cooled engine, so if the motorcycle is not moving, it tends to heat up, and you can really feel the impact when you're idling at slow speeds, especially in traffic situations. So that's when you can really feel the heat emanate out of these engine fins. And but if you're wearing riding gear, riding pants, it basically helps you offset that to a certain extent. But if you're crawling through traffic, not the most ideal. In fact, at times you feel that you literally want to get off the motorcycle because it gets unbearably hot. So of course we have the shotgun exhaust here. That's the Harley style of exhaust. I have Screaming Eagles here that are fitted onto this one. So basically this has a deeper bass. You also have other options that are quite noisy. I like the bass, I like the thrum of the motorcycle. And so I have Screaming Eagles on this, which has good bass. It's not loud. I'm not really looking for a loud exhaust, because when you're riding for 6-8 hours and if you have that exhaust that's too loud, then it really gets in the way of your riding experience. I think when you get off the motorcycle, all that you still hear is that exhaust note. The other aspect that I love about this motorcycle is its sheer road presence. With that black color, the chrome detailing and those aluminum bullet hole wheels, this is certainly a motorcycle that you notice from a distance. Even in terms of its size, so this is roughly about 8 or 9 feet in length. It's about 320 kilograms in terms of weight, and that is minus the accessories and the fuel. So with the accessories and the fuel, it's roughly about 400 kilos. So it's a massive motorcycle. And with that chrome, it makes it look even larger than its significantly large size. And of course, you also have the size of the wheels that adds to it. So these are 17-inch solid aluminum, what they call bullet hole alloys. And this wheel, which is made for Harley Davidson by Michelin, is 140 mm. The wheel at the rear is 200 mm. Again, these are made for Harley Davidson, so you'll see the logo of the company on the motorcycles. I guess when you have to carry roughly about 400 kilos at high speeds, you really need a special kind of rubber to move this machine. So when you see this motorcycle come from a distance, you're bound to notice it. Now the other aspect of comfort when it comes to riding the Harley Davidson Fat Boy is the fact that this is a soft tail model. I don't think I mentioned this before, but this is a 2016 model. This is called the FLSTF. Don't ask me what it stands for. I'll probably find out if some of you make a comment, ask me about it. So this is a soft tail model. So when it comes to motorcycles, there are two kinds of frames. So one is a hardtail. So the hardtail is where you have one frame and you have the front wheel mounted on one side of the frame and the rear wheel on the other side of the frame. So the hardtail by its name itself is a more rigid frame. So whereas when it comes to the soft tail, you have the main frame, you have the frame right here, and then you have the front wheel that's mounted on this end of the frame. But the rear wheel is mounted on a swing arm, and this swing arm is connected to the main frame by shock absorbers, by concealed shock absorbers. So basically this is a motorcycle that's quite comfortable. So the front wheel and the rear wheel move independently. So although it looks like a hardtail, it isn't. So you basically have one frame here and you have another frame on which the rear wheel is mounted, and that really makes it very comfortable when you're riding through bumps, when you're going over speed breakers, etc. Of course, the only other issue with the Fat Boy or with most Harleys is the height, is the road clearance, and I think the road clearance here is roughly about 120 or 140 mm. So if you are coming across speed breakers that are not really scientifically engineered, you have to be a little careful, or else you're going to hit the speed breaker on your engine guard. So I think the most important safety accessory on this motorcycle, from the safety of the motorcycle perspective, is this engine guard. This is a solid engine guard. It protects the motorcycle in the eventuality of a fall, or also if you're scraping a speed bump. because that's what hits the speed breaker, the underside of the engine guard, or perhaps sometimes even this frame. The other aspect of riding comfort when it comes to this machine are the forward foot controls. So whether it's the gear lever on this side or the brakes on the other side. So these are front mounted. So you basically are not sitting in this position, because when you're sitting in this position, after a while it can get a bit tiring. But out here you can literally relax your feet. And a couple of things here. So one is you've got a toe and heel shifters. When you shift gears, it's basically the toe as well as the heel that you use. And then this is a gel mounted pad. So there's absolutely no vibration, no engine harshness whatsoever that transmits to your body. So when you're sitting on this motorcycle, you're connected to the motorcycle through your feet, which is on that gelled footrest, and then you're sitting on the seat, which is almost like a sofa seat in terms of its comfort, in terms of its cushioning. So there's absolutely no noise, vibration, harshness that transfers to you really. So this is also what helps you ride comfortably, ride long distances comfortably. And then of course you also have the highway foot pegs here. So if you have a clear stretch of road, you can literally just open the foot pegs, keep your hands on the levers, the front brake lever, and ride aram se, comfortably without any issues. I think the one aspect that I didn't mention when I spoke about the engine was the speed. So what is the speed that you can do? Well, on the meter you can go all the way up to 220. I've gone up to 160 or so, but in very controlled conditions, in a track kind of a setup where you have nobody that comes in between. But ideally, you know, a cruising speed for this motorcycle would probably be in the 100, 120 odd region. You literally don't feel the engine breaking into a sweat. Like I said, the motorcycle achieves its peak torque at very low engine RPM. So this is not really an engine that will tire itself, nor will it tire you as a rider. So when it comes to safety, you've got ABS that's standard. You have discs. I think it's a 4-piston disc on the front, a 2-piston disc on the rear, if I'm not mistaken. I've got these Daymaker headlamps that I have along with these auxiliary lights. I've got these reflectors at the back. So basically, if you're riding in low light conditions, early in the morning or late in the evening, you can definitely see, people can see the motorcycle. You can also see what's happening on the road around you. So many times I get asked this question about the braking power of the Fat Boy. I think the braking power is adequate. Well, if you're used to riding, let's say, a sports motorcycle where it stops on a dime, this is definitely not it. But I think the physics that's required to bring a lighter sports bike or a bike that's really heavy in tech to a stop is very different from, let's say, bringing a classic like the Fat Boy to a stop. So I think I personally find in the last 4 years that I've owned this motorcycle, even in tricky situations, the braking of the motorcycle has been adequate. But I think you need to be careful as a rider in terms of how much you push your motorcycle and in what conditions. Okay, let's talk now about the controls of the motorcycle. This may be a slightly long episode, so pardon me for this. I'll try and cut as much as possible in the edit. But then if you want to get a full flavor of what the Fat Boy is all about, I think it does warrant some time. And for those of you who know me by now, you know I don't like to take shortcuts. I like to go into depths no matter what I'm explaining, whether it's food, motorcycling or my riding philosophy. So anyway, let's get to the cockpit area of the Fat Boy. Begin with the control. So it's basically keyless ignition. So this is to switch on, off, or only the accessories. There's a key that goes into this here. So once you basically take this key, you insert it in that, you turn it on. If you switch it off, it won't move. And also this is a fob. This is what they call a fob. So only when this fob is close to the bike will the engine start. So if the fob is not near the motorcycle and somebody pushes the motorcycle, that's when the security system of this motorcycle will kick in. So that's the security system that this motorcycle has. Very simple here. So you got the controls right here. So this is basically to set your various meter modes as you see here. So that's this. Then you've got the horn, which is, I've heard many a times over, worse than an Activa's. Well, but that's the horn that this has. This is the high beam. This is the high beam. This is the pass indicator. This is the left turn indicator. And then this is the right turn indicator right there. This is the engine on. This is the ignition switch. The motorcycle is in gear now, so it won't start. So this is the hazards that you have here. So hazards on, hazards off. Let's get the motorcycle to neutral first. Switch the engine on. I think we'll spend some time exploring the rumble of the engine. So that's the sound of the engine. So that's basically the cockpit area. So we've got the kilometers here. So I've done about 35,856 kilometers on my motorcycle up until now. Trip A, Trip B, so you have the range here. I can go 293 kilometers on the fuel that I have, the clock, and then the gear. It basically tells you the gear and also the RPM that you are at this point. So right now the engine is idling at 1000 RPM. So even as I rev up the engine, it doesn't go beyond 3000, 3200 RPM. So that's really the beauty of this engine here. So it achieves its peak torque at very low engine speed. And I think that's a unique feature of the Harley-Davidson engines. So these are cruising motorcycles after all, designed to munch up miles without you feeling tired. And I think that's what the Harley-Davidson, the Fat Boy, excels in. I think let's get to some of the other points here on the cockpit. Let's switch the engine off first. Here too. Now what I also have here are speakers. These are Harley-Davidson weatherproof speakers. How do they work? Well, you can either connect an aux cable or a dongle. I have a Bluetooth dongle here. You've got the controls for that right here. Let's see if we can turn it on. I've not used it in a while. I think I have to put my ignition on first. Let's go to accessories mode. Switch the speakers on. Let's see if we can get some music from the phone. That's what the speaker is for. Of course, I can go all the way up, but I'm here at the Otera. I don't want to disturb their guests. So the music is good enough for when you're cruising at, let's say, 80, 90 kilometers, 100 kilometers. You can definitely hear the music. I think what also helps is the fact, I think let me lower the music because I may get a copyright issue on this video. Of course, what also helps me is the fact that I have this windshield here. So this windshield helps in cutting down the wind, and of course when I'm playing my music, it also doesn't distort the music too much. So these are special Harley-Davidson speakers that have been designed for use on the motorcycle. And so I think when you're doing 80, 90, 100, you can still pretty much hear the music through these speakers. Frankly, I don't use it too much because I just find that it attracts too much attention. The motorcycle itself attracts attention, and then when you have that speaker on, I think it attracts too much attention. So that's something that I try and stay away from. So I don't use a speaker much, maybe once in a while just to make sure it's still working. That's where we use the speakers. You also have a fuel gauge on the tank to check your fuel level. This motorcycle is completely kitted out with tons of accessories, and there's a story behind it. Typically, I'm not somebody who does too much of accessorizing on the motorcycle, but there's a story as to how I acquired this motorcycle and what came along with it. But anyways, let's talk about the accessories first. So typically the Harley comes with a halogen. So out here I have Daymaker lamps. These are again accessories, the auxiliary lamps. This is an accessory as well. I like this stripes here, the Harley-Davidson stripes. This is something that I picked up from the US. I think the most important accessory for me is the full screen windshield. So when you're riding the motorcycle, when you're on the highway, the reason why you feel tired is the wind, that you're constantly riding against the wind. So as the wind buffets against you, you are straining yourself against the wind, and that's really what makes you very tired. So out here we have a full windshield, so I don't feel the wind at all. So if you have the windshield on, you can ride at least 20-30% more than you typically would be able to, because you're not really feeling tired. And then of course we have the engine guard here, which is another accessory. I have the highway foot pegs here, very comfortable. The gel pads that I have here again are an accessory. The speakers that you saw there are an accessory. I think, speaking of the cockpit, the mirrors also are the sort that allow you a fairly good line of sight at the back. Also, the mirrors don't vibrate in the least. I also have RAM mounts here, so which is where I plug my phone. Then we also have the Harley charger here. So this is the charging unit, so you can charge your phone into, you can connect your phone to this charging unit here. Again, this charging unit is a Harley unit, so it's done in chrome. And then the saddle bags. So these are leather saddle bags from Harley Davidson. It's enough if you're going on a 2-day, 3-day sort of a trip. I also have a Harley Davidson duffel bag that mounts quite easily on my backrest here. So typically when you buy the motorcycle, you don't get the backrest and all of that. So this again is an accessory. They also call this a sissy bar. Then you have the luggage mounting rack here. So I have a duffel bag, I have a Harley bag that slides right on top of this. So between the two leather panniers and the duffel, I'm good enough for about a week or so. The Screaming Eagles are an accessory too. These are not the loud Vans and Hines. Like I said at the beginning, I like my motorcycle to not be too loud. So this has a lovely deep bassy sort of a note. That's all that I have on my motorcycle. The fuel tank is a 19-liter fuel tank, and one of the most questions that I'm often asked when on the road, when at the fuel bunk, is kitna deti hai? What is the kind of mileage that you get? So typically I get about 20 kilometers to a liter, but if I'm being frugal, coasting along the highway, not doing insane speeds, you could get anywhere between 23, 24 as well. When I'm riding this motorcycle, roughly around that 80 to 100 range, maybe towards the 100, depending on the road conditions, sometimes a little beyond that, really depending if the road conditions are conducive to that. So when you're doing about 100 kilometers per hour on this motorcycle, your engine is roughly in the 2200, 2400 RPM. So although it's a massive monster, it's not as much a fuel guzzler as some people may think. There are people that are astonished when I say this gives me about 20-23 kilometers to a liter, because they expect this beast to be giving me no more than 5 kilometers to a liter. But relatively, that 1700cc, that twin cam engine, that 103 cubic inch engine does a fairly good job when it comes to fuel economy. Last but not the least, I want to talk about how I came to acquire this Harley Davidson Fat Boy in 2016. So my first Harley was an Iron 883, a motorcycle that I had for about 2 years or so. I rode about 16,000 odd kilometers on the Iron, and roughly about a year into my ownership of the Iron, I used to eye these Fat Boys, and the Fat Boy was always a motorcycle that I had in mind. When I bought my first Harley, I wasn't sure how much motorcycling I would do, and therefore I decided to play it safe and go with a motorcycle that relatively wasn't as expensive, and that's how I picked up the Iron. And so roughly about a year into my ownership of the Iron, I visited the Tusker Harley showroom here in Bengaluru to take a look at the Fat Boy. Just take a look at it and see what it was all about. And the principal dealer here gave me the keys to the Fat Boy, the motorcycle that he had in the showroom, and he said, take it for a ride. And to be honest, I was quite apprehensive, because that's a 350-400 kilo machine, and I was used to the Iron, and the Iron itself was a big machine for me at that point in time. So I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, take it for a ride and see what you feel. And I took it for a short spin in the CBD area of Bengaluru, which is where the dealership is located in. I sat on the motorcycle, and after a couple of minutes of riding the motorcycle, I fell in love with the motorcycle. Now, of course, there was a big trade-up between the Iron and the Fat Boy, not just in terms of the size of the motorcycle, etc., but also in terms of the price. And so I knew I wanted the Fat Boy, and as I was scheming and plotting as to how do I purchase the Fat Boy, a few days, maybe not even few days, A couple of days after I visited the Tusker Harley showroom and test rode the Fat Boy, a friend of mine that I was talking to at a party somewhere, and I was just mentioning that I test rode the Fat Boy, he said, well, there's a brand new Fat Boy that's for sale. So it so turned out that there was somebody who had bought the Fat Boy, this very machine, had loaded it completely with all the accessories, but was set to travel out of the country. So he was an expat who had bought the Fat Boy, and he was to move to Korea, and he thought he would take the motorcycle with him, but the import duties in that country didn't make sense. So he'd spent all of, I think, 23 odd lakh rupees on this motorcycle with the accessories, etc. And now he was in a situation where he had to sell that motorcycle. And that's how I came to know of this motorcycle. When I saw this motorcycle was already crated up, boxed up to be shipped to Korea. And it had done barely 200 kilometers on the odometer. I looked at this motorcycle and I said, that's it. That's the motorcycle I want to have. And I picked this motorcycle for a great deal of the showroom price. If you'd like to know how much I paid, write me in the comments below and I will tell you what I paid. And that's how I came to acquire the Fat Boy with all the bells and whistles, with all the accessories possible. I think this is a fully loaded Fat Boy. It's got everything in terms of accessories for comfort, for convenience, for the look, and all of that. So that's it, folks, for this episode on the Harley-Davidson Fat Boy, the motorcycle that many of you have inquired about. I hope you enjoyed this episode. A big thank you to the folks here at the Otera, Bengaluru, for allowing us to film this in their beautiful porch. There's plenty of greenery all around. If you haven't caught my event video at the Otera, I'm going to place a link in the description below. Do take a look at the 7-course dinner that we had staged at Alloro, the Italian restaurant here at the Otera, Bengaluru. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until the next one, take care, stay safe. If you enjoyed this, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.